Before I begin, I would like to thank the organizer for inviting me here to talk about driving sustainable supply chain solution through digitalization. My name is Leung from PSA International, and currently I'm heading the Infocomm Technology and Data Division at PSA Singapore. In case some of you do not know PSA, does it move? Next. Yep, okay. Let me give you a quick intro about PSA. So PSA International is the world's largest port group, and currently we have more than 40,000 staff globally. And just last year, we handled 91.5 million TUs, a record years for PSA Group, about more than 5% growth compared to the previous years. And just Singapore alone, we handled 37.2 million TUs last year, a record years for the team Singapore, the first time in the history of Singapore. So we come a long way. PSA journey in ports and cargo solutions dates back to the humble beginning here in Singapore. We started our business as a port domain over the past 50 years, as shown here in the red bars. And as we move along, we added the yellow asset on top of the red one. The yellow asset are those inland container depots, warehouses. And in recent years, you start to see the green bars coming out. And those are our cargo solutions, part of our business. And as you can see, we are somewhat shifting, but not departing, okay, from our original port business, because we think that beyond the port, okay, we want to go into cargoes and supply chains and trade. So as at now, PSA is the leading port and inland facility group at this moment. Okay, our portfolio comprises of more than 60 deep sea, rail, inland terminals, as well as facility for warehouse, district park, and marine terminals. At first, we are well known as an expertise in terms of port and terminal management. But as of now, we are leveraging on technology, our network of connectivities, as well as our deep expertise in a diverse management team to create value-added logistic services over above our port operations to benefit the logistic community as well as the maritime ecosystems. So it is not surprising today, PSA is not just a port network, but a supply chain network. And that is our Group CEO, Mr. Tan Chong Meng. So since we are into the supply chain, we need to get our hand into it. And we are involved in many of the conversations. We are involved in the AFA, Alliance for Actions for Supply Chain Digitalizations. And through all this workshop and conversation with the various stakeholders in the supply chain, we gather that there are many inefficiencies in the entire supply chain. Many pain points are highlighted by the stakeholders, and some of these pain points are quite pervasive in the entire systems. There are attempts to address some of these pain points, but none of them cut across in a more integrated manner. These pain points, by and large, can be grouped into 60 pain points, of which we have identified 40 of them can be actually addressed by having a good digital infrastructure whereby all these supply chain stakeholders can share their data in a more trusted and secure manner. So there is this calling for and Internet of Logistics, an idea that is coined by my group CEO, Mr. Tan Chong Meng. You can Google for that, IOL. Essentially, it is an ecosystem of connected logistic operation edges, nodes, and platform with convergent standards and trusted governance, enabling plug-and-play exchanges and interoperate among the partners. So what is in it for the stakeholder? They can look forward to have a more improved visibility, closer collaborations, and co-creation of better supply chain solution for resilient and sustainable trade. So to realize this vision of Internet of Logistics, we have developed Calista, which is our global supply chain digital platform for us to orchestrate physical, financial, and regulatory flow of cargoes. Next. So to build a resilient or sustainable supply chain is not just about decarbonizations or GHG emissions. It is also about keeping the supply chain functional, optimized, and efficient. Let me give you an example using the food sector. Over here, you can see the food sector contributed 26% of the total global emissions. This 26% covers from farming, productions, processing, packaging, transport, and last mile. And from here, you can see from the transport part of it, it is 6% of the food emission. And that translates into less than 2% of the total global emissions. So you may ask, is that significant? Well, let's view this in another way. If there is 50 containers of beef lying in our PSA reefer yard, meaning that this container must be refrigerated containers, which require power, electricity to chill the beef. So for whatever reason, our backend systems fail to preset the temperature according to what our customers needs. For whatever reasons, our technicians fail to maintain the reefer plugs, so much so that there is a massive malfunctions, which we cannot draw power to chill the container. So what happened? The temperature in the container goes up, the beef spoil. But the beef has carried a carbon footprint from productions, processing, and transport before it reaches PSA yard. But now, the beef is spoiled. The carbon footprint incurred, before that, before it reached the PSA yard, now it has incurred. And since the food is spoiled and wasted, the carbon footprint that comes with it is now truly wasted. So, who is responsible for that? Well, the container lies in PSA yard. Yes, PSA is responsible for it. So, in theory, we are just 2% of the entire game. But if we fail in our responsibility, we may be guilty of affecting or impacting the 26% of the food emissions. Now we are just talking about one food sectors in one of the supply chain. There are many verticals: manufacturing, constructions, textile, automobiles, and so on and so forth, which each of them have different carbon footprint numbers. The point here is that we play a very, very important role in this supply chain node. And for that matter, whoever in the supply chain node need to be responsible and efficient. And this goes a long way to contribute to a global sustainability effort. So, to contribute to the sustainable supply chain, back in PSA, we have 3 focus. First, connectivity and ecosystem solution. Second, data and digital connectivities, and third, decarbonizations. I'll go into each of these briefly. First, connectivity and ecosystem solutions. The development of the Tuas port, which is situated at the western part of Singapore and co-located with the industry hinterland, is a very good example whereby we inject technology and sustainability element into the entire planning and design of the Tuas port developments. And by 2040, when Tuas is fully developed, you will see the largest fully automated terminals in the world with a handling capacity of 64 million TEUs, which is almost double the current that we can handle. And you can be able to see more than 2,000 automated vehicles running around. An amazing scene by then. So is Tuas port just another mega port? No. It is designed to be an ecosystem dovetailing with our key national trusts by interlinking seamlessly with the mesh of physical and digital nodes so that we can strengthen our local voice markets, okay, in terms of their ability to respond to the market. And by working with the partners here, the development of the Tuas ecosystems is a step towards realizing our vision of Internet of Logistics. Next, data and digital connectivities. Digitalization is not new to PSA. It is in our DNA, and we have been doing that for the past decade. And from this journey, you can see that how our technology have evolved from just merely supporting to enabling and driving our business objective and business value. Notably, you can see how our business volume grow, scale, and accelerated throughout the decades, from 1 million TEUs in the 80s to 37.2 million TEUs just last year. And this can't be achieved without the use of technologies. Our large-scale real-time operation systems is designed to be resilient, robustness, and reliable. In the recent years, with a more focus on sustainability and cybersecurity, we have also added these two elements, security and sustainability, as part of our design consideration for any new solution that we build. Next. PortNet, which is our port community solutions, is quite well established. You have served the shipping community, the maritime community very well. But is that good enough? If we want a well-oiled supply chain, we got to be connected to the adjacent stakeholder too. So that's where we built the smart booking product to link with our logistic facility, depot, and terminus. And over above that, we also developed the iBox product, which is the depot management system for the depot operator, for them to manage their inventory and provide visibility of their stock level. So we are trying to connect all the dots here with the intent to better facilitate cargo flow and to have a more resilient supply chain. We are also embarking on this solution called Control Tower, whereby we want to provide data visibility, both upstream and downstream, because we believe that a true supply chain network has to be end-to-end. So if we have a very robust exchange of supply chain data, we can truly transform our logistic community into a well-connected and resilient hub, providing visibility, providing better efficiency, okay, lesser PortNet, lesser wasted trip, and overall improve in productivity, thereby strengthening Singapore as a leading logistic and supply chain hub. Next. Last but not least, the decarbonization effort. As a key player in the logistic and maritime sector, PSA also want to play its part to build a more sustainable future. Sustainability is at the core and heart of our business operations, and PSA would like to be the global leader in the climate actions, and at the same time driving the sustainability growth in both the logistic and the maritime sector. In line with the UN Global Sustainability Development Plan, PSA Singapore aims to reduce our absolute carbon footprint, carbon emission by 50% by 2030, and eventually net zero carbon emissions by 2050. And our sustainable supply chain strategy covers 3 scopes: Scope 1, Scope 2, Scope 3. Scope 1 aims to reduce the direct emission through electrifications of our container handling equipment, such as our yard cranes and our horizontal transport. All those diesel power equipments will have to be converted. And for Scope 2, we are targeting to reduce our indirect emission from the electricity consumptions by looking at more greener energy sources. And the Scope 3, which is the most challenging one, because most of the time it's not within our hand. But this is the area with the highest potential to move the needle if we do it right. And in line with our Internet of Logistics objective, we want to leverage on partnership and ecosystems to influence and optimize our supply chain. Next. These videos will show you to see some of our Scope 3 decarbonization pathway. Yeah, 1 minute video. So it is then our focus, our attention to galvanize the community for collaborations and foster a better partnership among the stakeholders in the supply chain community, for them to come forward together to co-create a resilient and sustainable supply chain. So in closing, in this increasingly interconnected and interdependent world, no one single business, no one single country can tackle a crisis such as the pandemic or a crisis like global warming all by itself. We need to come together. We need to act together. So, for all of us here, okay, I believe for all of us here, as a leader in their own field, in their own area, as a good steward, we are given the responsibility to keep our world a better place so that we can pass on to our children and our next generations. And at PSA, we are committed to provide a greener horizon for our future generations, enabling a better world through sustainable port and supply chain solutions. So will you join us to build a better place for our future generations? Thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much. Let me invite the audience for any questions that you have.
Hi, Klaus. I have a question here from the virtual audience.
Perfect.
So the question is, when you say an intelligent ecosystem, do you foresee autonomy or assisted navigation as a route to the future? Also, how open are ship owners and captains in having assisted navigation tech?
Repeat the question again. I try to.
So the question is, I'm just, sorry, I'd closed it down. Let me just bring it back. Oh, now my computer's frozen. One moment.
In the meantime, if there are
There
any
we go.
questions from the audience.
So,
Okay.
when you say an intelligent ecosystem, do you foresee autonomy or assisted navigation as a route to the future? That's the first bit of the question. Then the second bit is, how open are ship owners and captains in having assisted navigation tech?
When we talk about ecosystem, intelligent ecosystems, and perhaps I explain a bit about the concept of Internet of Logistics that is coined by my group CEOs, Mr. Tan Chong Ming. So we recognize the supply chain. In this supply chain, there are many, many stakeholders. Maybe go back to the previous slide. One more, yeah. There are many, many stakeholders from a shipping line, shippers, BCO, agency, to many, many partners, many, many stakeholders to come together. So it's never able to have one single platform to address the entire solutions. So we recognize that, and there are many, many solutions to solve certain specific problems there. So our approach here is that we want to have a network of platforms. Each of these platforms may be solving different community set of problems, and that interconnect them all together. Hopefully, with that, we are able to achieve better visibility of our cargoes, of our flows, our trades, and ensuring that all the flows, there is always perhaps some carbon footprints there to see, to give our consumer the choice, okay, which options is better with the parameters of the carbon footprint alongside that. And this requires everybody to come together, right, to participate in this. So for us, my group CEO here is want to champion this initiative to bring along all the communities to come together, okay, to create this platform, okay, with the intent that eventually the whole supply chain can be optimized for sustainability purpose. Okay, so in a way, along the way there will be competitors that come alongside here. Okay, I understand that. We also understand that there is also data privacy issues, data sharing issues that just now the panels also talk about. But from a technology background, I believe that technology eventually will be there to solve the problem. The technology, most of the time, are there available. Even for data privacy issues, they are also exploring I'm not too sure you heard of federated machine learning models, whereby allow data not to be resided in a central database. Okay, we can train the models, okay, in a more federated way, distributed way, without all the data coming together. So these are the technology that is available. People are exploring to solve some of these difficult problems that we have. But I think still most important is the use cases, the problem statements, whether the use cases is beneficial for the parties that are involved. It has to be, otherwise people will not come together to collaborate. So look at the use cases and make sure that it is beneficial for all the parties involved. The technology itself will be there, okay, as it combines and address it along the way. Yeah. Hope I addressed the question. It's quite loaded in a sense, okay, but I just want to bring about the concept behind the Internet of Logistics that we are talking about.
Any questions from the audience? Any last question?
There is another one here, but
Go ahead.
if the live audience wants to ask first.
But the live audience is a little bit
Live audience, the virtual audience is on the ball. So another question for you is, obviously you have a wide network of partners, and they come from multiple sectors and multiple backgrounds and multiple approaches. How do you find, you talk about collaboration, how difficult is it to bring these communities together and convince them to collaborate? And what do you find is the biggest challenge there?
Okay, yeah, definitely it's very, very difficult to get so many parties to come together to align everybody. I think whether we can find a common objective among all these participating partners. And I see that recent years, if we all agree that sustainability is one of the key areas that everybody's problems. And then when we come to the table, we have this as a common vision, common objective to address the problems. I think at least that set the stage for any conversations. And along with it, okay, if we can bring about values that benefit both parties, that I think it will keep on going. And in my opinion, thought leadership is also very important to ensure that there's certain drivers behind this whole effort to drive. What is drive the whole supply chain sustainability? I think it's a very noble objective and visions, and I think everyone here should be chartered, okay, to solve this global problem that we're facing. Right.